So you were telling me off mic that you're Silver, that you're trying to turn over a new leaf and be a little bit more positive. What do you mean by that, and what steps are you taking to get there?
So I'll go through phases. In the past, I started going down that. I started becoming more accountable to myself by
Mm,
listening to Joe Rogan originally, like years and years and years ago. And it wasn't so it wasn't
mm,
Rogan so much as it was like the guests he would have on, like David Goggins, and that's how I found Jocko and stuff like that.
mm.
And so the more I started listening to self accountability podcasts like Jocko's podcast, I started to like get up early in the morning, take fitness more seriously, take my job, just being a better father, being a better all that. Okay, so but then I'll find myself like getting complacent, and then recently, when I was telling you I was going through some dark shit,
Mm.
it was just getting caught up in the because of this podcast, so it's Dylan's fault. Um, I was trying to stay away from doing a lot of politics stuff outside of going to sleep. I would go to sleep with certain guys because they're monotone and I fall asleep to it. So other than that, I was trying to stay away from politics, and because it's like from a mental health standpoint, it's way easier to not get involved. So I started getting like really
Yeah.
irritated, and then it started like uh, I wish I didn't have a job that could get me fired because I would say some stuff that's really funny, but and give you
Mm.
examples of what I'm talking about. But when something would happen, my brain would be like immediately like, yeah, there's one right there. Fucking, like so.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't healthy. And so what I'm doing to to go back to like more positive is I started listening to. I was telling Dylan about it. David Jaffe, he's a video game guy. He created God of War and Twisted Metal. He's a ultra left wing progressive guy, but the way he handles his streams, like Nelson, you need to watch him to learn how to like be like that. Like he's super intelligent. He's really engaging with his audience. The way he
Yeah.
can carry on a conversation with himself with the audience is absolutely incredible. I disagree with 95% of what he says about politics, but just the way he's able to entertain you is just remarkable. So anyway, I started listening to him
That's dope.
and trying not to get irritated by his opinion and just actually try to listen to it. And then
I respect that.
more so than that was also because like anything you put in your brain is kind of like it's food, right? So I think then NF talked about that. So I stopped listening to almost all hip hop in general, almost all of it, except for NF really. And then I stopped. I mean, basically, I just listen to country music now. That's more
Okay.
positive. And then I started listening to more like Christianity stuff, like West Huff and paying attention to like some of those kind of podcasts too. So try
Love it.
and like and don't watch. I try not to watch. I don't know. I'm trying to be. And it's only temporarily, right? It's just to
Mhm.
get me back on track.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. It's I love that. I love that you have like a game plan. Ironically, one of the things that keeps me from going into those dark places, like I'll have those moments where I feel like all hope is lost, especially for my kids. But then like ironically, my relationship with Dylan plays a part in that where I'm like, he thinks the complete opposite of a lot. Like, and it makes me realize, I guess, just in our conversations that this is it, bro. Like this is what liberal is. This is well, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm what conservative is, but I lean that way. And it's like if we can figure out ways to have conversations and talk with each other, that gives me a sense of peace. You know what I mean? And not just talk to each other like we're friends. You know what I mean? Because I honestly feel like with politics and everything, especially with everything that's going on that I'm sure that we're fixing to start talking about shortly, it's like, bro, like at what point do we stop? This doesn't deserve to be politicized. It's not even like, and I just feel like that's why people get in these dark stages. And it's gotten so bad that everything that happens is ultimately becoming political. You know what I mean? And that team
Everything.
ideology that me and you have talked about, Dylan, is literally it's like taking its toll. And I don't know what comes from it. So I appreciate you telling me all these different ways that you're trying to stay positive and lean that way, man. It's definitely a battle, especially as a parent.
Well, I don't know how you. It kind of sucks because like if you were to try it too, you can't because of your channel. Like you can't listen to
Hmm.
Adam Calhoun right now. Like I can't. Like he's
Mm,
his old angry ass. Like I can't. You know what I mean? Like, and I kind of
hmm.
understand where he comes from because like you know how he battles with himself, and he'll
Yeah.
talk about how he wants to quit. That's probably why because in order to keep his music going, he has to stay in that frame of mind, and it's just
Yeah,
not good
bro.
for you.
Yep.
Which
I've
is
talked
why I
about
was
it with him behind the scenes. That's exactly how he feels. He's like,
Yeah, and so that's why I think he should try pursuing country again because I thought it was really good and it's healthy
I
for
did
him.
too. I did too. I think
So
he's good at it as well.
So
yeah,
Tessa is more of a like. Well, so when you were sick, you were sending us a bunch of Twitter threads, which I got us started talking about the
yeah,
spiraling thing. And I
yeah.
was talking to Tessa about something similar. She's like into reels and threads, which is really weird because like
Who
her
is that? Is it
my
your
girlfriend.
girlfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So her reels algorithm is more like right leaning, like kind of, but threads is where like I guess a ton of the fucking crazy left leaning people hang out. So she gets
Oh, okay.
both extremes fed into her brain, and she's constantly just
Nice.
like sending me these insane links. And I feel like I'm a fucking fact checker. Like I was just sitting on the couch, like
You
watching,
are, bro. You
trying to
are
fucking watch
100%.
Stranger Things, and she sends me like four fucking insane links, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" So I don't know, man. I think too many people are just like getting all their information from fucking social media platforms. It's like going crazy. Like, and I
Well,
don't know. I'm not saying like obviously CNN, Fox News, all these people are not the
They're
answer,
worse. They're
but well,
worse. Yeah.
I don't know if they're. I mean, yeah, I think they're worse in some ways, but better in some
I don't
ways.
know
Like,
anymore,
but
guys.
well,
I don't know if they're.
but
I don't know if I'm comfortable just letting that slide. I don't think that CNN and Fox are necessarily worse than where we're
They're
at now
100%.
with
well,
YouTube people.
No,
let me
they're 100%
here.
worse.
Okay, I'll defend Fox News, right? Which I'm loath to do. But like that's the thing is their fact checking is actually pretty good. That was a problem for them when the whole 2020 election thing happened. Like
Hmm.
everybody in the Fox News organization knew that a lot of the claims Trump was making about the election were bullshit. And the reason they got sued successfully for like $780 million is because there were a ton of internal text messages between all the executives and the hosts saying, hey, we're losing our market share to Newsmax and OANN because they're willing to blatantly lie and not fact check all of these statements, but we are not reporting on this stuff, so they're going to our competition, right? So like
Mm.
even though Fox News did the wrong thing and still reported on it anyways, knowing they were wrong, at least there's like these fact checking mechanisms in place, right? Like if we could
That's
just
real.
find some way to like maybe hold, which I guess we did find a way to hold them accountable in the form of a lawsuit, right? If we could find better ways to
Yeah,
hold them accountable and actually like we're informed consumers of media, like we could have a better media. That's my main problem is people don't have like a
but
healthy engagement with the media. They just eat up everything that they're fed. But if we actually like held them accountable and said, hey, I'm going to shift over not to OANN because OANN's feeding me all the bullshit that I like, but I'm going to switch to OANN because they're not feeding me bullshit. But the problem
I
is
just can't. I can't agree with you at all. Like at all. Like prime example. I'm just gonna use this one example. And I'll shut up. During COVID, they made Joe Rogan green.
oh
They
yeah,
tried to
I remember that.
like
That
that.
and
That
that is
just
crazy, bro. That
that's
is
just
wild.
one example, dude. That's insane. And then he had them on like the other one was Dave Smith.
I remember when he had that doctor on there and confronted him like face
dude,
to face.
dude, it's crazy. Like that's why I'm not even
It
going to
was,
entertain it. They're horrible. They've been caught like staging crisis over and over
but
again on all of them. By the way, I'm not
okay.
CNN.
Well,
they're all done in
since we're
15
on a
years anyway,
charitability
though,
arc,
right?
well, wait, just
Yeah,
since we're on a charitability arc, and I've seen it, and I think it's not as bad because I'd never heard of this until like maybe 6 months ago. Someone brought it up to me, but since we're trying to be charitable, is there a world where since everybody knows that the world runs a lot of these like huge institutions run on terrible outdated technology, is there a world where some guy downloaded something to a thumb drive and ported it over like 17 times and the color and balancing just got fucked up because they uploaded it to 7 different computers and downloaded it 7 different times and the picture of Rogan just looked different
no,
when they act
no,
Mm, I don't
no.
think so. I think that's being too charitable
well
That's you
dude
can't. That's a
because
crazy. It was a night and
because
day
the
difference.
narration around it was, look at how sick he looks. You know
And
what
it
I mean?
was
That was kind of
and
the point
horsey
of showing
ones.
it.
And he was actually going to a
Yeah,
doctor
it
with
was
a
bad. It
known
was
name.
bad, bro.
That
It
was
was
bad. The
bad. It
whole
was
thing
bad
was a
look.
lie. Like anyway, there's no point in bringing it back up. That was just one example that everybody that's watching this will remember. Like that's just one example. Fox News has done they promoted for how long? 20 years the war in Iraq and Afghanistan based on false information that we knew was false. Like the
Hmm.
amount of death they caused, like it goes on and on and on.
well
I'm not gonna. Now that doesn't mean that you're not also seeing bad stuff with bad algorithms and people. like taking money from whatever
Mm-hmm.
sources that, you're never going to get rid of it. But that's why I try to find
Mm-hmm.
people that are like going out of their way to be like really combative against all sides, which is
Agreed.
Anomaly,
Yeah.
which is Dave Smith, which he's got his faults, and then you got the other one, Liberty Lockdown is another one I've been watching, who like goes after everybody and calls a spade, and that's to me is all you can do.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I say like the only reasonable answer to me seems like fixing it from the consumer standpoint and not from the
Right.
actual producer standpoint. Like theoretically we could fucking make a government organization called the Ministry of Truth, but like I don't want to give the government that power. I don't think any of you guys want to
Hell
give the
no.
government that power. So we need to take the power into our own hands, be able to
Figure out how to
actually
hold
fact check
everybody
stuff,
accountable.
and then hold those
Yeah.
people accountable by not consuming the crap content.
Well, how do you do this though? Because just take the ice shooting. Okay, that's 2 movies, 1 screen. So, Dylan, you see that, right? What's your like? Just give me real quick. What's your thoughts on the shooting?
So
Real quick.
yeah, assuming
I'm
she was
just kidding.
assuming her intent, because so the extent of what I've seen is like a minute worth of clip, right?
Right.
I
Mhm.
don't know if there's anything longer than that. So assuming what they say is true, and she was actually intending on blocking traffic, which I don't know, based on what I've seen is questionable, then she committed a crime, and she should be held accountable for that crime. But accountability for that crime does not look like a bullet to the brain.
Agreed. Let me start off by saying I agree with you. I don't think that a bullet to the brain should have happened at all. But all right. So this is what you got to think about in those high strung, high anxiety filled, non-critical thinking situations. When she starts to drive that car, and everything is so tense, everything is so highly tensified, man, with all these people around you with phones, you know what the politics are, you know what's going to happen if you mess this up. And she's thinking the same thing, right? Because she's there for a reason. She is parked sideways in the middle of the road, so it does insinuate that she was trying to do something to interfere with what they were doing. But in those intense situations, the minute that she started to drive that car anywhere, bro, it's not that she deserved it, man. I'm not one of those F around and find out people. I think everybody deserves grace and everybody deserves second chances. So it wouldn't make sense for me to believe that. But I also feel like I don't know how to say it any other way. I just feel like in that situation, you have to be still and you have to just do what they say, and your chances of making it out of that situation are a lot better. But when he's feeling so highly intense and he's not thinking clearly, he can't use his critical thinking skills in those moments because he doesn't know what's in the car.
He
That
shouldn't
car
be
could
a
have had
law
a
enforcement
that
officer,
car
then.
that's
the
not
problem.
true. No, that's not true, bro, because he's a law enforcement officer, he realizes all these different scenarios that nobody in the real world thinks about. Like, is there a bomb in this car? Is this lady fixing to try to blow somebody up? What is she doing? Why is she moving the car? And I agree, he shouldn't have shot however many times he shot. I wish that she was still with us today. I don't think that she should have been taken off of the face of the earth. But I also think in those situations, it's wrong of us to just point at him and say murder. You know what I mean? Because it's in that situation, he didn't set out that morning and leave home to go and off somebody. But at the same time, you're in those situations. You don't know what's in the car. You don't know what's being at play here. You have no idea about the ins and outs of all of this. And all you can think about as a law enforcement officer is I got to make sure that I make it home to my wife and my children, or make it home to my family, or even make it home to my bed. You know what I mean? Because ultimately that's your goal at the end of every day when you're in law enforcement. So I don't know if it's right to just point the finger and say murder in cold blood. Like, I just don't think that's right.
What do you think, Silver? I'm curious. What's your take on it?
So I've done almost zero research on this, like just because I was just trying to stay away from it because I saw the footage, not knowing what it was, and I was just like, oh my god. But from what I've seen people talking about, supposedly, there's like all these different angles that come out now, and it tells a different story. What that different story is, I don't know because I didn't watch it. Then on top of that, the cop that shot her, apparently, I don't know, I should say apparently, I've seen people or reports saying that he was also ran over a couple months ago and got 33 stitches when he was trying to. Okay, so then like now he has PTSD. Why is he back on the streets?
That's true. I didn't
the
know
correct
that.
take when you hear that information. The
Yeah, I
correct,
didn't know that.
like legit, JD Vance went on Fox News and was like, he just got run over. Can you blame him for being a little bit scared? Like,
That's crazy. Like,
but
and so
he said that in defense of the guy. Like,
which is a crazy take. And so that my point to bringing all this up is because
I didn't know
how
that.
do you control the media whenever we are all fueled by this same, like right now we're the media, right? If nobody knows what we're talking about, they're using us as the media, right? So it's just I don't know how. And then there's like other footage of like that lady's wife. So now she's gay apparently. She was married to a guy who died. Like, so her husband died. They have 3 kids, supposedly. That now they don't have parents. But then she was married to another lady, which is weird. And then that lady was like filming on the outside, like of the car. Like
That's horrible.
It gets weird, and it gets like now people are saying, "Oh, it's planned." Again, I've watched none of this. I'm just seeing people talking about it.
That's my thing too, right?
Planned.
It's like if I can say one thing real quick, like that's another thing of mine too. Is like because of the politics of everything, this is such a high brightened subject. But I'm sure that with the statistics and how many murders are involved in the United States of America, man, some little kid just died got ran over by a drunk driver at some point today. But nobody cares about that because you can't politicize it. You can't say, oh well, that little kid was a liberal and the drunk driver was a Republican. So look at there. Look at what the conservatives do.
this involves ICE, so
it's
like,
ridiculous.
Of course, it's going to be instantly politicized
of course
both ways.
Well, here's another question, Dylan. Maybe you have an answer for me. Why do we only ever hear about ICE being in liberal areas? Like, I genuinely don't understand why they're not in like the red states.
I think it's probably just a little bit less or a little bit less reported whenever it happens in like more rural areas. Like I saw reporting a few months ago that they were like ICE went into a bunch of nail salons in some random place in Georgia and paraded a bunch of people out. So yeah,
they went to the
around.
Hyundai plant. Remember the Hyundai plant?
Yeah, well, the Hyundai plant was pretty politicized.
Well,
that's a red area for sure.
But if you look at their own stats, like nobody's getting deported, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Biden they deported more than Trump has. So to me, the whole thing just seems like theater.
I think it's also important for me to say right here too, because a lot of people that do watch me have these conversations, they don't realize this about me. So I do think that it's important that I say this as we extend the conversation. I think that we have, I don't know about the reports. We have seemingly gone hellaciously overboard with getting out immigrants. Like the way that it was sold to us as the public versus what they are doing to me are two different things. Somebody else that voted conservative and I voted conservative because I did want to get war criminals and all of these, cartel leaders and stuff like that. I wanted them out of our country too. I hate drugs. I have a passion about my hatred for drugs. I want all of that stuff eliminated. I want it gone. But I think that it's gotten to the point like you're taking, 50-year-old women that have lived here for 25 years and they're like a teacher at a private school. And it's like, what are we doing? And
I don't know if
there has
real.
to be a better way, right?
Is that even
I don't know. I've seen it in headlines,
like
but I don't know if it's factual.
I want to talk more about
to be honest,
the shooting real quick. I'm just curious, based on your limited exposure to what you've seen, Silver, what was your take? Like, do you think it was justified without knowing anything else? Do you think it was a justified use of force by the officer?
No. My initial thought was no, because like get your fat ass out of the way. Like if you see a car driving towards you, get your fat ass out of the way. Like that just seems. And
he could have. He could have moved out of the way, but also, like I'm saying, in those situations, he might not even. I don't know, and that is a law enforcement problem. There's a lot of issues that are at play here, but I also don't think that, Dylan. I don't think that the issue, if we continue to focus on these problems as singular problems instead of looking at the big picture, man, I don't think that we're going to get anywhere. I think that the issue. I don't even think it matters if it was justified or not. I mean, God bless that lady. I think that the issue amongst the public is who was right and wrong, the conservatives or the liberals. That's all anybody cares about. Nobody cares about that lady's life.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on, bro.
I also heard that ICE doesn't even have they're not even as well trained as like your regular law enforcement. Is that true?
As
you ever
far as
looked at
I
Probably,
it?
know,
bro.
that's what
That
I've heard,
bro,
but I haven't actually looked
I
into
get
it.
it. I've gotten emails that
Yeah, they're
like
like $100,000 a
I
year,
could
50
join.
grand
Yeah,
sign-on
dude.
bonus.
I feel like I could join the ICE tomorrow if I wanted to, man. It's like apply
Well,
here.
so
And I'm like,
here's my
what the
thing
hell?
So
is
That's weird.
that's a scam. That's Somalians, like we're all talking about Somalia and their scams, but that's a scam in itself. You're like, how is that deserving of that kind of money?
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
here's the thing: is Nelson and I we've held off talking about this for the past few days because I wanted to talk about it on camera.
Sort of, kinda.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah.
sent me a bunch of messages. I was driving, so I didn't respond. But he sent me a fucking paragraph like this.
I've just had it, bro.
So here's my thing. My big thing, and I agree. Obviously, it's overly politicized, but I'm really big on talking about fraud and everything. I'm big on holding law enforcement accountable because the thing with law enforcement is
For
that
sure.
the state gives them weapons to use on our people. So they should be held to an exceptionally high standard, especially when they're using those weapons against us, right? Like, and the thing is,
Mm.
we give this guy a gun, and if you look at actual DHS policy, right, you can go to their website, their policy on use of force, it says you should never put yourself in a situation. I could pull it up, but it just says you should never put yourself in a situation where you're endangered that forces you to use deadly force, which is what he did when he decided to stand in front of that car,
The
right?
argument will be that
Well, let
he
me
was
say this
saving
too.
other officers, though. That will be the other
Well,
argument.
And
but here's
wait a
the thing:
minute,
is
wait a
if you
minute, wait
look
a
at where
minute. Let's
this,
stop right there because I got to say this too. Like you own businesses. Let's say that you have these string of businesses. So let's say that nobody really knows what goes on in these businesses, but this one time this guy decides to, shoot a hole through the glass. You just hired him 6 months ago, and he ends up stealing from you and robbing you, and that ends up getting put on the news. So everybody looks at this company and they say, "Oh, wow, look at the kind of people that they hire." But in reality, you have all these people that work well. They just never get any kind of shine because people always also want to focus on the negativity, even when it's not politicized, right?
well, I think you're right in. I mean, it would be nice if there was a world where everybody could just say this is bad, right? And say, "Oh, this is a tragedy. This shouldn't have happened. We need to prosecute this guy because, well, maybe not even prosecute the guy. Maybe we need to prosecute the guy who cleared the guy because clearly he has some kind of issues because this has happened to him in the past, right? And maybe he gets
Mhm.
off, because he was allowed back on duty early and it's not his responsibility. And that would be great, but I mean, I think just the reality is that we're so polarized as a society that of course stuff like this, especially with how contentious all the ICE stuff is, like you said, with regard to immigration, is of course it's going to get politicized. But I mean, I don't know, I'm just trying to contend with the actual
So
topic at hand. Like, I think it's
what
crazy
what
that
does what's the answer? Like to make the liberals happy, what is it?
I mean, I don't just
Murder in the first degree? I mean,
I maybe
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
manslaughter. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be manslaughter. It wouldn't be a first. They wouldn't win that
well,
case.
that's what I'm saying. Do you think that the people that are outraged would be okay and feel at peace if he caught a manslaughter charge and he was out in 5 years?
I mean,
I would think so because
Lost his job.
news moves fast, so probably so.
I mean, I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
think
five
so.
years is
I don't
not
think that would do it.
sufficient for killing someone, taking away someone's mom, wife, etc.
Well, that's
But
what
I mean,
manslaughter gets you.
well,
That's why I
if
said
that's
5
what it gets
years.
you, then I think that's fair. I mean, I think they
Yeah.
should push for whatever they can get, and if that's what it is, then I think that's what it is.
But it's also kind of crazy because if you look at it from his perspective, like let's say he he did fear for his life. He wasn't like we already said everything we already said, but he did have PTSD. He did have fear for his life.
That part.
That's justified from a law enforcement
Well,
standpoint. So I don't.
he could use that
I
as a
mean,
defense in court and be like, listen, they didn't psych eval me.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't have been there in the first place. You should take this up with my boss.
and I
And
think he
that
gets off every time with
probably is
that.
a sufficient legal defense. And then somebody else should catch the charge. Like, I think somebody should
Mm.
be held accountable, whether it's him or his superiors that allowed him to be out
Which
there
I
with a
agree.
gun and endanger people, right? Like,
I agree. If
I'll
that's my
empathize with
family
the
member,
guy.
somebody should be held accountable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I get
well,
it. I
not
do.
even
I
just as a
understand
family
it.
member, just as like, I don't want a world where I've been arguing with a bunch of people about this because I see this shit all over Facebook and I think it's dumb. But I don't want to live in a world where anytime a law enforcement officer gets scared or is in fear for his life, the first thing he does is start shooting. And
I don't think that you live in that world.
well,
I
I know,
think
but
that
that's what
this
I'm
is
saying
one
is
example out of 100,000.
I agree, but when people are defending the guy and they're saying, "Oh, she should have followed the rules. She shouldn't have made him feel in fear for his life." That's the world they're advocating
Well,
for.
do you know why though? Like because she should have. She should have, and I'm not
I
advocating
agree.
for that. But you know why she should have? Because let's take it to another place, and this isn't so far fetched. Let's say that let's say that my example ended up being the reality, and let's say that he didn't shoot and he let her go. He let her drive off, and then she did end up having some teenager ducked in the back of her truck that got out with an AK-47 and just sprayed down the street and all of the ICE agents. Then what?
I mean, that's more of like Afghanistan shit. But like, well, like, you know,
Bro,
like,
don't put it past like that couldn't
Yeah,
happen
but
here.
I
That could
mean,
oh,
have
sure.
easily happened here. And
Well,
I'm
but
just
you
using a
do
wild
realize,
example. It could have been a 40-year-old
yeah,
man with a
well,
pistol.
but
You
here's
know
the
what I
other
mean?
world,
It's
right?
however you want to put it.
They have specific policies for not shooting at moving vehicles, right? What if, he shot at her, or God forbid, he's an idiot first off, because there was crossfire. So he could have hit any number of pedestrians or anything behind
That's
the vehicle,
true.
right? So that's
That's
one.
true.
But second off, he shot at her. What if she hit some gas truck and blew up the fucking gas truck and took out 100 people, Like
That's true.
the hypotheticals could go both ways, but the reality is they have policies for a reason. He didn't follow the
well,
policies.
the other,
Even
but there,
even if that would have happened, even if he the reason that I'm bringing up the hypothetical I'm bringing up is because I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt where I can, as in how his brain works, right? Where it's just like this isn't a moment of you're talking about split seconds. It's not a moment of okay, let me think about this and make sure that I'm doing this the correct way. When even my uncle who's been in law enforcement his whole life and he's a great cop, he'll even tell you in those situations where your hair starts to stand up and your adrenaline starts running, it's do or die, making it home. You know what I mean? And my
well,
uncle isn't the type that would do anything like
Let's over
that,
talk for a second.
hopefully.
there's
But
a
oh,
caveat
I'm
to what you're
sorry, bro.
there's a caveat to what you're saying though. I would like his opinion on this because go watch other footage. She waves on several cars.
Yes.
She wasn't doing
She
like
does what?
she's parked in a weird way. Like she's getting because there's a parked car and I think she's trying to drive around it, but she stops and lets other like unmarked by the way. So it's not like ICE vans. It's unmarked regular civilian vehicles that ICE agents are in, and she's letting them pass because they had already made themselves known in the area because they were doing a raid. So she was letting them pass, and then she started to go, and then that cop got mad, and that's when the whole thing went crazy. She had
Huh.
waved several cars already on by ICE agents, by the way. This wasn't. It didn't seem hostile until they made it hostile. That's what the little bit that I
Yeah.
saw. That's what it seemed
So
like.
that and one other thing are the other aspects I wanted to talk about is first off, there's a world where like I said, I've only seen like a full 60 minutes of straight footage, where like theoretically, I mean, it was icy roads. If she got turned around somehow and skidded on the road and just got wedged in there, right? And she was just waving people past, trying to get people by so she could turn around, and then the ICE agents think because there's some protesters there that she must be a protester. They hop out, they start fucking with her. She's freaking out. There's masked dudes with fucking guns running at her.
Right.
Of course she's gonna freak out. She drives away. Maybe she wasn't even part of the protests. That's one point. But the
Well,
other
a lot of
point,
people are saying she was leading the protest. Is
well,
that not true?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm saying there's a world. If it is the
Well, that
case,
matters, bro. Like that part matters. If she was just some regular pedestrian that was just trying turn like what you're saying, if that hypothetical was real, that changes the dynamic of everything,
Well,
right?
I don't know if it does. Right. It's still a life. I don't
No, it
know.
doesn't change the dynamic that it doesn't change that dynamic. Like, yes, dude, no life should be taken. I hate that her life was taken. And I don't think that even if she was the leader of that protest, I still don't think that her life deserved to be taken. I'm just trying to give the guy because I just feel like nobody does this. Nobody tries to think from the perspective of somebody else. And I'm just trying to give him some kind of benefit of doubt until it's proven
so
until he's proven guilty.
I watch a bunch of cop videos. I like both sides. I love it when cops, arrest morons who are doing stupid stuff and pushing the boundaries. And I like when cops get sued, their asses get sued off, and they get fired for doing stupid stuff, right?
Yeah, it is great.
But the thing with police is these people are held to an exceptional standard because, like I said, the state is giving them a gun and allowing them to point it at other citizens, right?
True.
So you need to be able to you need to be able to maintain control in difficult situations. Otherwise,
I don't think they're. I don't
It's
think they're
true.
held to the same standards as our military, which is odd. Somebody needs to fact check that, but their
Well, we
rules of
also
engagement are different. It's weird. I
it's
don't think
tough
Well,
to
but
say it
we
like
use
that,
our
man,
military on
because
foreign people. We use our police on citizens.
but
right. But
bro,
I'm saying
the
our
the
military
issue
is
with
held to a
that
higher standard.
the issue with
Maybe,
that,
yeah.
Dylan, is honestly I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I don't know if this is so much as an agreement or I'm sorry, an agreement or a disagreement type of scenario. I think that it's really, really nuanced because, like I said, like they're trained in those situations to act quickly. And normally, that might sound like, oh, well, they need to be trained differently, but normally that might save their life and they get home and they're able to see their wife and kids. You know what I mean? I just think that
Yeah, but
it's tough.
I've
It's too tough to nail down to one specific case.
I've seen a lot of situations where you can tell there's police officers that are thinking way too much about gotta get home, gotta get home, gotta get home, where they'll have
Yeah.
interactions with people and for no reason you can like see the body camera shaking, they're freaking out, and then like, something small happens that's completely mundane and they immediately fucking grab their gun, right? Like I agree,
Yeah.
obviously, we want our police officers to be safe. And I think the mechanisms we do that oftentimes are like we have extremely high or there's it's extremely easy to press charges on somebody for like assault on a police officer. Like if you just touch a cop non-consensually, you can get charges in certain ways. And I'm fine with that because I want legal protections for our law enforcement officers.
Of course.
But the flip side to that is they have to have a certain level of like risk tolerance where if they see a lump under a guy's shirt, they don't immediately assume it's a gun and put 3 bullets in his chest, right?
Well, it gets a little bit more nuanced because when you have regular like law enforcement, they'll go from a normal traffic stop over and over and over again to domestic violence and they have these like super
Right.
high ups and downs. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about ICE. It's a completely different thing. They're not doing like mundane regular, like they have a
That's
specific
true.
task. So
No,
I don't
that's fair.
know. There is a nuance that comes into play, like where we're right now discussing law enforcement. That's not what this is. This is something different. I don't know. I don't know the
It's
ins and outs of
federal
the nuance of
agency.
it. I
Well,
don't know. Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know what kind of pressure they're under. I don't know. And if they're
But
not
what
as
if
well
do
trained,
we
I
know
don't
his
know.
background? Was he in the military? Was he a police officer before he
I don't
got
know.
there?
evidently they figured out the guy's identity because of the prior case. There was some like court proceedings where
Really?
the person who had dragged him in the car had charges pressed on him and he was named in the case, so they found the dude's name. But yeah, I don't know. So
This is also why a lot of the right wing pundits like your Mike Cernoviches and your Matt Walsh and all these guys are like defending ICE because they've all been targeted by left wing violent activists. Like you just had JD Vance's house was attacked. I mean, so they're immediately going, you know what, this is a war and it is what it is. So
And
that's the other
honestly,
scary part of
Dylan,
it.
whether you want to admit it or not, bro, there is a large group of this super far left that they're encouraging the type of behavior. Whether she did it or not, I don't know, but they're encouraging this type of behavior. Like if you see ICE, don't let them do this, don't let them do that. I've heard that multiple times,
Yep.
and
I mean,
it's just there's a mess. Like this is why I got so upset in the way that I texted you. I'm not upset with you, obviously. It's me being upset is just that it's a mess, bro. And it's not going to get cleaned up if we just keep hyper focusing on singularity issues. Like, okay, this happened. It's war with each other for the next 6 weeks until the next tragic thing happens. Like at some point, we got to figure out how we can get together, talk to one another, and benefit with each other as fellow citizens.
we can all three agree that it's tragic that she died and that the guy
Yes.
probably shouldn't have killed her, right? But
Yes.
we have a president who, within a couple hours, and
Oh, I
probably
know.
only seeing the same information we have, said that she's a far left domestic terrorist. All these other things we don't know. As far as I know, nobody's linked her social
He
media
does.
or anything like
Yeah.
that. He immediately went as political as possible. He said the guy was like, it's a miracle the guy survived and he's recovering in the hospital. Meanwhile, he barely got clipped. If you watch the footage, right? Like
That is very weird.
So
I will not defend Trump.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
same.
I'm
Not
done
in this
defending them. I will not
situation.
defend them.
Not especially not in this situation because that's just. I mean, that's a lie, bro. Like,
well, but that's the thing is everything is downstream from that. Like when you in situations like this, you want to look to the president to be like ideally a calming force, but
correct.
he's over here like making it more and more extreme, acting like this guy
But they're
was.
not. Presidents haven't been doing that. Look what Obama did with the Trayvon Martin and all that. They were adding fuel to the fire. They have been.
I think
So did
Biden
Biden.
did that. I think Biden.
They all
No,
did it.
Well,
I
it's the
think
same thing with
Biden,
this
when Trump
Venezuela
got
thing. They act
shot,
like Trump is the first one to do a lot of
well,
stuff, but
when Trump got shot, Biden, was out there trying to say, "Oh, this is terrible. We should not do these things. Like this is a
I'm not talking
tragedy."
about that. There's other things you said that were adding fuel to the fire.
I'm just very much
I
like
don't
if
think
you
Trump
do
got shot
something
either. By the
good,
way,
I'm going to salute you for it. And if you do something that I disagree with and that I think is wrong, I'm going to call it out. Like, for instance, like what Trump did with all of those pictures at the White House of all the presidents, and he put like all these different plaques underneath, trying like whatever you were showing me that day, Dylan. I don't remember
Club and all
everything
that
that was
stuff,
said, but bro, that's disgusting.
Well,
I
but we
don't
can
know.
all
It's
agree that
disgusting.
this is bad, but nobody
And
else can
yeah,
because everyone's so heavily politicized. I think it starts from the top.
but like I
Like,
think what he did with Venezuela is a good thing. For instance, I actually like that. I think that if the stories are true, like if this is really keeping drugs off of our streets, but the issue is like how do you know what's real
well,
and what's not real
we can go to
anymore?
Venezuela, I'm sure. But the one last thing I wanted to talk about, and it kind of goes with what Silver was saying about how like police officers, their roles change. Like, if you watch a lot of these cop videos, they will be in literal gunfights with people. They disable the guy, and once they neutralize the threat, as in like they're sure the guy is not a threat, he's got no more guns or anything, they immediately switch and go to trying to save
render
his
aid.
life. Exactly, right? But there's a video of a doctor who says, I'm a physician, I can help her, and they're fucking blocking this guy from helping her, right? They're just sitting there watching this chick who's been shot in the freaking head bleed out and just waiting for EMS. Like that's terrible training, in my opinion.
Again, that's why I think that I guess the reports are true that ICE is not. They're not trained in the same way that law enforcement. And law enforcement also does not get very good training. So like,
Yeah,
let's start there. So I mean that's.
But they should, right? They're operating in, like you said, they're operating in heavily metropolitan areas. They're gonna interact with civilians.
Then they need to. Well, if you do that, if you make training like if they're like mandated to be at least a blue belt or purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so they know how to manipulate the body. Like if you start mandating the stuff that would actually help, you're gonna have to pay them. You're gonna have to compensate them for that. And I don't know if we can. I mean, we can afford it if we stop, doing $1 trillion budgets for the warmongering, military. You know what I'm saying? Like if we stop sending money to Israel and if we stop supporting all these other countries, we can afford to do stuff like that. But we don't live in that world. So
I mean, if we can afford to pay them $100,000 a year and 50 grand
some of
sign-up bonuses, we can afford to get them a fucking blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
Well, that's ICE. That's not law. That's not. It's different funding. But I mean, again, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. I mean, all the things that you promote, like from your ideology, right? You're pro healthcare for all. You're pro free college and all that, right? Who has all that? Israel.
Yeah. Well, a
Why?
lot of places have all that.
Well, I understand, but my point. But we support all those places. Militarily or however, we support all of them, but we don't have that as our. So that's why I'm true America first right now, and I just don't. So that's why I'm away from Nelson.
I think.
See, I can't really rock with the America first thing either, just because like I'm Jesus first, and I don't know that. Like that's why a lot of people get irritated with me about my takes on things because I can be kind of wishy washy on some stuff. But that's my like. I'm always trying to think about like the way Christ would look at the situation, and Christ wasn't just like a United States of America citizen, right? Wasn't a citizen of America at all. Like there's nothing about the Bible that's politicized or tied to America. And and I guess that's how I look at the situations and why I can't really lean towards America first necessarily.
Well, America first is not America first forever. It's America first for now. So the idea is that
Fair.
I fix my house, I get my shit in order. I'm going more positive once I get my stuff in line. And then Dylan's having some issues with his girlfriend, so he calls me. He's like, "Hey, it's about now. I can give solid advice because I got my shit in order."
That
that's
makes sense.
That's all it is, man. We're not saying whenever there's a hurricane and Haiti gets hit, we shouldn't give aid. That's nobody's saying that. What we're saying is like what we just did in Venezuela. That's regime change. Why are we messing with that? Why are we messing with Iran? Why are we messing with Russia? Why are we messing with Ukraine? Like, let's focus at home, and then we can go and try to be the world police. Now, when it comes into Venezuela, this is where it gets tricky, Ricky, because a little bit that I've looked at it. First of all, I'm gonna look at this from a video game / movie standpoint. What the military pulled off in 8 minutes is pretty remarkable. And what's even more crazy is Trump tweeted out the actual Delta Force running operations on a mock-up of that guy's house. He tweeted that out 2 months ago. They literally showed you what was going on. People, in retrospect, we figured that out. Like, that's crazy. But so
that is weird.
So some military guys I've listened to talk about this said this was a setup because that, like, the guy was ready for us. He knew it, and he surrendered. All this was like, so there's a bunch of weird theories out there. The other thing is the death count has gone up to 80 now, maybe 100. That's, it is what it is. It sucks. And then the other military pod I was watching, they were talking about the Western Hemisphere, and strategically they're talking about Cuba, they're talking about Greenland, they're talking about. So if you look at the map, the world map, when it's spread out, it looks like they're planning for something. And that's it's not fight against drugs, because Trump just pardoned a drug lord, like literally 2 months ago. He just so it has nothing to do with drugs. He's a fucking liar. So most transparent administration of all time, eat a dick. So it's either oil has something to do with it, yes, but it's also strategic because they're trying to prevent oil from going to China. But then if you look at that, it's like, oh, China only buys 5% of their oil from Venezuela, so they're just going to get more of it from Iran. That's not really. And then it's like, oh, Venezuela also funds this. It's like, yeah, but it's only this much. Like, when you start diving into the numbers, none of it makes sense other than the landmass itself and controlling waters and shit. So, and if they do go after Cuba, they do go after Greenland. It seems like they're gearing up for a bigger fight now. What did Trump just do? He also just asked for, was it $1.5 trillion for the new military budget for next year? That's war money. So what's going on?
Isn't that crazy? Because I could be completely wrong, but I'm almost positive I remember listening to Trump saying, oh, we're doing such a good job at making the world more peaceful. We're thinking about even dropping the military budget, like a couple months into office. Am I crazy? Did I imagine him saying that?
No, you're right. There's been clips of it, and there's also like there's the poly market is showing different things. Israel's gearing up to go do X, Y, Z. Like there's so many things that are pointing to all this weird shit, and it's just
so. Well, what Nelson? What's your opinion? What do you think? What's your opinion based on your algorithm? I guess. What's your opinion on what happened in Venezuela?
Preventative maintenance and oil, I think, are the main culprits. But I think that if this should be a yes or no answer, right? Like, was he? I don't care what Trump thought or what Trump anything. Like, was a massive amount of drugs getting into our country because of this person?
No.
Or no?
No.
Then it's all preventative maintenance
10%
and oil.
Of our cocaine, I think, is what I saw. But it was like,
who does cocaine still? Hold on, people still do cocaine.
Yes, somebody's doing it.
I think it was preventative maintenance and oil. I think that it was a chess move. I don't know if it was wise or not. I just think it was a chess move of sorts against Russia and China, and I think that that oil will ultimately make us a bunch of money. And I think that that part of it is wrong. So I guess they needed to cover up. But I also want to say this, man, because mainly because Silver, you've been going through kind of a dark time, like you've been talking about, and trying to stay positive. I do want to say this, like, I think that terrible behind the scenes stuff like this has just always been going on, and I think that it's just way more visible now than it's ever been before because everybody is digging. And I don't want you to feel like, or anybody to feel out there, if you're watching this and you're feeling that type of way, I don't want you to just start feeling like this is hopeless and it's lost. I mean, miracles happen all the time. You still got a bunch of prayer warriors that live in our country. I still feel like our country is a Christian nation at its core. I don't think a lot of Christians even know what Christian means anymore, but there are still a lot of Christians out here, and I think that there's a lot of people that ultimately want what's good for the country. I think that those people that showed up at the voting booths are a lot of people that just genuinely care about what our kids' future looks like, and that's half of us, right? Or maybe a little bit more than half. And um, I'm not willing to throw him in the towel and just say like
Well,
all is hopeless and
let me clarify.
lost.
I wasn't in like a crazy dark place, like sad and shit. I was just most of it had to do with the fact that I was sick and I hadn't been sick in years. But so
I'm a
whenever I was
baby when
sick,
I get sick too.
yeah, I was like I couldn't do anything, so I was like doom scrolling essentially. So like that's
Yeah,
where I wasn't. It wasn't like I was about to go back and you know what I mean. Like it wasn't that crazy bad. It's not like my wife and kids were like oh no what's going. It wasn't like nothing like that. It was just mentally
for
I was
sure.
telling you like, I'm not ready for a pod basically is what I was getting at. So
Yeah,
like
no, for sure. That
right
I get it.
that's all it is. It's also protecting my job because I don't want to say some
And I
wild
was
shit.
just not just you, bro. I maybe I shouldn't have said it the way that I said it. I was more so thinking just about I was feeling that way in this moment, and I was also trying to say
Right.
like to the people that do end up watching this, like our goal is not. The three of us can all say this confidently that our goal is not to pump fear into people and to make people feel like hope is lost. Our goal is actually to kind of communicate to a point where we can start trying to work our way towards a middle ground. And I think
Well,
that
we already
we need
achieved
that
that.
now more than ever.
We none of us were really disagreeing a whole lot. If you notice that, like we haven't really disagreed a whole
Hmm.
lot. We might have different views, but they're not disagreements really. There's just different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting, and I think you're seeing. I'm hoping that you'll start seeing a lot more of that. We'll see. I mean, like Dan Bongino, right? He quit, and now he's back in the podcast realm. The shit that guy said and then did and then lied about and then like it's insane. And he's getting called out. So now he's like, oh, I'm going after the black pill, blah blah. Dude, you are a liar. Like, and you forget that you're on the internet and we have footage of you lying, like
He
outright
literally
lying.
It
he
is
said in
crazy,
an
bro.
interview, someone was like, "How do you explain your change in position on all these things?" And he was like, "Well, previously when I was a podcaster, I was paid for my opinion, and now that I'm in the FBI, I'm
Ah.
paid to tell the truth." And it's like, so wait, you're saying you weren't doing that before, or what exactly? Like,
Dude,
that's just a
it's
crazy thing to say, bro.
and go, there's another clip of him. Just type in Dan Bongino in Israel. Go watch that clip, and you're just going to be like, dude, what is going on? Like it's
Yeah,
just crazy.
So I'm
things are
curious
nuts.
because you're not a big Trump guy, Silver. I'm curious, what do you think? Like, what do you think they're gearing up for? Because in my mind, Trump, I think, is really terrified of having like some huge conflict happen in his watch, right? I think the whole Russia thing, I think the Israel Gaza thing are indications of that, where I think he just like is desperate to end conflicts at any cost, just so nobody
what
can
has he done?
say
What
Trump
has he
was like,
done to? What has he done to end any conflict?
well, he keeps
Yeah, that's
well,
what I was about to say.
he's tried. I mean, he keeps trying to
How?
end the Russia-Ukraine conflict just by,
Oh,
constantly
yeah, yeah.
ceding, ground for Ukraine and all these things, right? Like, and it seems like well, I don't know. I guess there could
Well,
be other reasons
okay,
for.
so he calls for a ceasefire in Israel, and then they've killed how many people since that ceasefire?
Well, I'm
The
not
number's
saying he
pretty
cares about
crazy.
peace. I'm just saying he cares about, like, I guess, lowering the global temperature because he doesn't want
So
the
that he doesn't
temperature to
look bad.
reach the point where something
So you
really
go and
pops
do a
off.
regime change? But no, that's not true. Dude, he's bombed 8 countries simultaneously. No other president in history has done that. Not even drone, Mr. Drone
But
himself, Obama.
theoretically,
Nobody's done that. That's the opposite of what you're talking about.
I think there's a world where that could still be turning down the temperature in a weird way. Like if you're
Like
bombing,
bombing 8 countries simultaneously?
well,
That's crazy, dude.
I'm trying to be really charitable.
I'm
Don't. There's
sitting
no
this one
point.
out.
There's no
Yeah, you
point,
don't have to
man.
be charitable,
Well,
bro.
so here's the thing: is if he's right, or if we're Trump and we believe what Netanyahu is feeding into his ear about Iran's truly close to nuclear bombs, right? You have to bomb them.
For
And if
30
he's,
years?
I get it. Trust me. You don't have to convince me. I know. I think that shit's weird, sus, whatever, as well. But if we're Trump and we believe that, setting Iran back 30 years in their nuclear program theoretically would turn down the temperature, right? Like there's
Yeah, we
ways
also
where you
don't
can
know what
bomb
we
someone
don't
and it
know.
still turns down the temperature.
It could be too. I mean, there could be so much going on that he's saving us from World War III. Like we don't know. I mean, and we won't know for 25 years. But like, I just what's on the
And that
surface of
could
what
be
we
a
think we know.
thing. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
was getting at earlier.
Well, that's what Mike Cernovich would say. Like he would say, if we were not the world police, somebody else would be. And then he doesn't think that world looks very good. Okay,
Mhm.
fair.
mean,
I don't know.
I would
I
agree.
agree to
Yeah.
an extent. Like, just for an example, people talk shit about USAID. I don't want to get into that argument necessarily, but I think there is a level of value there where the programs that we're ending, oftentimes China is picking them up with more caveats, right? And there's an
Well,
argument to
they're
be
also
made.
smarter about it too.
Yeah,
It would seem.
and they're getting money back, right? Or they're doing it with
Yeah,
interest, all these other ways, right?
yeah.
But there's a reason they're doing that. China is not doing it for humanitarian reasons like we say we do, right? So like there's value there. I
They're
mean,
actually operating slaves right now. It's
well,
in Africa. It's insane.
yeah, I believe yeah. I'm sure that I'm sure there's all sorts of crazy shit happening. But my business partner went on vacation to somewhere in Africa, and he said there are legit buses in Africa with Mandarin on them.
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
basically like I guess colonizing for lack of a better word these places, right?
Well,
And
they do that here, but they do it incognito. Go look up. A lot of our tollways are owned by China. Did you know that? So they've been doing it all over the globe. Like they're really smart with their economics. But we also allowed that to happen during the Clinton administration, I believe. They set up I can't remember the
but
term of it.
I think there is some value in being like for like the world police. Just making the world more secure, all these other things. But I don't know. I was just trying to be charitable to Trump. I'm curious what you're like. So your take is that he's like setting up for some big conflict with Russia, China.
That's what I've seen other people say. I'm just parroting what I've read. I don't know.
I don't know
know.
either.
I don't
Yeah.
know why Israel does what they do. I don't know why Russia's moving in on Ukraine the way they are. I don't know.
It's hard to
I
have a
will.
take on it. But I will
Yeah,
say biblically speaking, Russia I forget the name that it was in the biblical times, but that place, I want to say, I could be bombing this, but I want to say, biblically speaking, that Russia will essentially kind of lead the charge against Israel. And we basically in America, like we don't even really play a part in it. Like we just sit it out, basically. Like we
scripture-
don't go to defend
Quoting
Israel.
scripture on video is like almost as bad as doing math on video. That's rough, man.
I'm gonna do it, dude. But I'm bombing this because I don't get into the end time
well,
stuff a whole lot.
it's also odd because they're Russia, I believe, is the most Christian country there is outside of like
It's
small.
but it's not
As far as
about
the
it's
superpower.
yeah, it's not about like who's Christian and who's not. In those end times, man, it just people get bloodthirsty, man, and they just start going to war. And this could be the beginning of that. I don't know. It might not be. I'm just
I don't know. I just there are some good things that Trump's administration's done. Very recently, you had the new food pyramid. Huge kudos to that. That's great. I mean, that needed to change. I don't know if that actually has any relevance to like real world activity, but it's good that they got away from the fake pyramid. You know what I mean? That's good. And then I don't even know if Trump pulled it off. I know he talked about getting to where BlackRock cannot buy single family homes anymore because that was atrocious. So that's a positive.
My problem is so I was talking to Tessa about this because she's got a whole housing conundrum. She's trying to like do renovations on her house and end up selling it. I don't know if stuff like that makes all that much of a difference. Unfortunately, I think a lot of that is like kind of
it does.
As
far as the housing market,
Magog, by the way. I can't let it go without enunciating, but it was called Magog in the early days, and that is modern Russia. MAGOG. I might be pronouncing that wrong. But I just wanted to let y'all know that's the end of days conflict supposedly in scripture is Russia and Israel.
that's
well,
awesome.
the people that occupy Israel are not the people from the Bible. So there's that.
It's not the people, bro. It's the continent, like the place of it, like
Right. But the people that occupy
whoever's
are not
there.
the biblical.
Yeah.
They
It
were
talks
not
about that
skin.
too. It talks about in the end day, not the beginning days, in the end days. In the end days, basically people in Israel are bloodthirsty as well.
Yeah, the red heifer and all that. Yeah.
So it's not about God's chosen people at that point in time, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because this administration's only been in power for a year, and there's been so much that's happening. Like, good, bad, and
Yeah.
different. It's just the news is moving so quick, and
It is crazy.
It's wild, and it's Moreover, like my brother texted me 2 days ago and was like, "Hey, we're keeping the kids home from school because there's bomb threats." And there's like he showed me all the Facebook posts of a dude that's masked up with dynamite, like saying, "I'm going to blow up your kids. We hate your kids." This and that. Like it's insane, dude. They shut down. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's like half of all Dallas ISD schools, or they were under threat. They didn't shut them down. But like it's like when you see stuff like that, dude, you're just like, man, what is wrong with our society? Like I don't. It's just, and it's starting to bleed out into all the other countries too. Like I just don't understand.
I think we just like we're not too rich, but like we got too much fucking free time, man. Like you gotta fucking like Zimbabwe, you gotta fucking fight lions and tigers to fucking live, man. Like
well, go watch.
That's what we need more of here.
Go watch I Am Speed. That dude, that streamer kid.
Yeah,
he's in Africa right now. If you go watch his clips, like how wholesome it is. He's traveling all over Africa right now, dude. Like my buddy, a friend of mine that's from the South Side of Chicago. He just got back from Kenya, and the way he describes life over there is just polar opposite of how it is in America. I think we've been, to a certain degree, been fed a lie about how America's a great country.
Of course, I super think so. Yeah.
Like when my parents, they've traveled the world and like they've gone to Sweden and Norway and like. Dude, I don't know if we're doing this right at all,
bro. I think we get fed lies about states in our country, bro. I think we get fed lies about what states in our own country is like. Like I think we get fed lies all the time. All we do is get fed lies.
Yeah, and then so like Obama made it legal to where you can propagandize the citizens. But then you read about that, and that seems like a little far-fetched, and it's a little like the right wing kind of made that worse than what it really is. It's like you can't believe anything anymore. I literally don't know.
That's what I tell Dylan all the time. I'm like, dog, you can pull up, you can research whatever you want to research, bro. I still don't know. I just don't know.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, I have this idea or a theory, but I'm not married to it because I don't know, and I don't think any kind of fact check you pull up, I don't know if you can believe that because it's all the narratives. Like I just don't. And who gains from whatever narrative? It's just frustrating. Like, dude, I was watching Gen V, whatever their prequel to The Boys on Amazon.
Great show.
And so I really like the ultra violent superhero shows, and then it gets super ultra political. I'm watching season 2, episode 1.
Gross.
Of Gen V, and it was like, oh, right out of the gate. It's black dudes protesting or whatever, and then white guys come up and they're like super white supremacists, and they're just like overtly throwing a narrative. It's like, dude, what are we doing? Like, does it have to be like this? Like, it's just.
It's gross. Even with Stranger Things. Did you see Stranger Things, Dylan?
So
I haven't watched it yet.
I just watched the last episode of season 4, so I just got to season 5.
Oh no!
Well,
what the hell,
I'm
bro?
too.
So the thing is,
we could have such a good clickbaity thing going here, bro. You messed it up.
The point of art, or one of the points of art, is to commentate on society, right? So
100%.
Our society is super divided, so our art will naturally also be super divided, or at least will commentate on that division. So I think it only makes sense that, well, and especially I think The Boys is naturally like a politically satirical show.
Wait, what? No, because the first 3 seasons weren't like that.
What he's talking about is different.
No.
What Silver's talking about is cherishing and championing the liberal agenda. That's what he's talking about. Not necessarily.
It's overtly, but like the first 3 seasons of The Boys was not.
That's not true. Do you remember that whole well, first off, like Stormfront was like an overt Nazi, and then that
was after season 3 though.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
That's my point. So
the first they made her look bad
after season 3.
The first season, and second season were not political at all because it was pre all that stuff. It was not. And if it was like just a little bit. It wasn't like crazy. Like they didn't make Homelander into the new Trump.
I thought the whole point of Homelander was to be like a Trump parody.
Later, he turned into that, but he wasn't that way.
I mean,
first.
the entire.
That's so gross.
Approval, all powerful.
Well, yeah, but he was a bad Superman. He wasn't like a.
Everything would be so much better if they didn't do this nonsense, man.
I mean, well, like they do it. Like
I think it has you got both ways.
Like you got Landman, like and all the Tyler Sheridan stuff. He does it the other way, but it's more tasteful to me the way he does it. It's not so like in your face, and he even gives you counter arguments. So like that's the part that's annoying. Is like if you watched Yellowstone, they had the hippie chick that was anti right wing, but then you had the right wing guy like communicating with her like his viewpoint, and then they came to like
Loved
they
it.
came
Yeah.
to right.
Yeah, love it.
That's what the right's
That's
doing.
beautiful.
The left is doing it crazy,
Did
like
you
on
guys
every
see
fucking thing.
the third Knives Out movie?
I've never seen a single one of those.
Oh,
No, I wanted
Yeah.
to, but I
they're
haven't watched
good.
it.
The third
I
one
was
does,
too busy catching up on Stranger Things like the rest of the world.
The third one does have a pretty politicized character. It's pretty funny, but they're really good movies. You should check them out. They're actually very interesting.
Everybody.
I just don't think this is my thing, bro. Everybody, like I agree with Silver. Everybody's tired of it, and quit. Well, quit like over politicizing everything to the point. Like in America, your goal in your show should not be getting one side to champion versus the other and hating the other one. Like that's what it is. It's like, let's celebrate the liberals and piss off the conservatives, and the liberals get this W, and now the conservatives just got to be pissed off. Like nobody, that's stupid. Like what he's saying with Yellowstone is how like both people had value there. And I think that that's what we need to get back to.
Yeah, like if you go look at Grand Theft Auto 5, I feel like did it beautifully. Now we'll see what happens with Grand Theft Auto 6. That could be tragic. But you know, I don't know.
I haven't played it.
It's gonna be interesting. But like I just don't like how I'm playing Hogwarts right now, a Harry Potter game. I'm 60 hours in, love it to pieces. But they have a transgender character for no reason. Like it doesn't even play. There's not even a point to having that person in the game. It's just they did that just to spite her. Like it's just annoying. Like what are we doing? Like just make the game for like the sake of making the game. Like you don't need to ruin yourself for that. You know what I mean? Like why would you do that? It's just and it's over and over and over across all mediums. It's just annoying.
What do you say to people who say the same thing about adding random women to games? Same thing.
What do you mean?
Well, there's this whole like video game thing where stop trying to make games appeal to women. They're for guys.
Oh yeah, well so that's where they go the other route. So like you have some like Tomb Raider was iconic and everybody loved her.
Loved it.
And then you go to the other extreme with like where now you have all these half-shaved head women that are all super dykey and don't have any curves. Like hell, have you met real women that have curves? Like what are we doing? Like they made all women not sexy at all, but then they go the other way with men. Like no, they never make like grotesque men. You have Nathan Drake. You have all these like they're all like still your sex icons from men. It's so one-sided because it's done by leftists and their ideology is all fucked up. Like it's just irritating. Like if you're going to represent everybody, then do it accurately. Not every woman's flat-chested and shaped like a brick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care either way, to be honest with you. I don't play a lot of games. Like, I don't know. I play the games that I play, and I don't play anything else.
But it trickles into everything.
Well, it's the pendulum thing, right? Like, for the longest time, games were specifically only geared towards men, right? So, of course, it's going to naturally try to swing because these big corporations are going to try to tap into the other 50% of the country that don't play video games, right? So they're going to want to
I get that, but
try to get them to appeal.
And it didn't work. So
yeah, no, I agree. It doesn't work because they're doing it the wrong way. Obviously,
girls play candy. They play phone games and they played some Nintendo games. Like,
Animal Crossing. Yeah, Tessa she said I don't know if she's exaggerating, but she said she put like 2,500 hours into fucking Animal Crossing during COVID.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're not.
Dang,
not to out her, but.
It is what it is. I mean, yeah. It's like let's go back to appealing to meat. Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Make me a Punisher game. Damn it.
Fair. We got any other points we want to close on a positive note, Nelson? Any thoughts?
I do want to bring up some scripture before we get out of here to end on a positive note. Luke 21:28 says, when all of these things begin to come to pass, just look up. So say your prayers, trust in God, and ultimately, I mean, I'm prescribing something that could help like millions and millions of people that just deal with stress and deal with this anxiety because of what goes on. Like ultimately, what I'm trying to prescribe is that there's a higher power in someone that's in actual control of everything and knows what's going to happen and knows what's going to come to pass. And just put your faith in that. If you can't put your faith in any side of conservative or liberal, that's what I would say. That's my positive note.
Okay. Anything else?
Next time, do you want to bring up the video game thing, Nelson?
Yeah, I remembered about that last minute.
What?
That you were
What?
wanting to, because everybody that games is like degenerate.
Oh yeah, let's do that next time. That's a
Yeah.
good conversation to have, though. I would love to have that conversation, but
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. So I'll do my best to defend, but it's gonna be rough.
I can't believe you all.
no,
just
I
agreed
I
this
just want to have a I just want to have an open conversation about it, bro. I don't want to like disagree with you
No,
or
it's
nail
it's
anybody down.
it's super fascinating.
It's weird. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's weird, but I think it's super dope that like people that love it can still like take care of their families, do their jobs, and it's just like so many people get like caught up in the game and they get addicted to it. I think that they like can't escape it even when they get into reality. Like I talk to people sometimes that are like, you know, I can't wait. Like even people that were talking about being off at Christmas, they were like, I can't wait to be off at Christmas so I can just sit at home for a week and a half and do nothing but play video games in the dark. And like they even say like in the dark and stuff. And I'm like,
It's
okay,
a great time.
you know,
It's a great time.
I believe it. I believe it. I'm just like, all right, dog. But yeah, we'll talk about it. I would love to talk about that, but I don't want to talk about it now because that is a long
Yeah,
conversation.
it's a long conversation.
I think.
Are you down to have that conversation, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was great. We all agreed kind of for the first time ever on basically everything.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
I don't agree with y'all, bro. Liberals.
I think it's good. Oh, sorry.
I'm more liberal. I'm liberal today.
And,
it's fine.
and y'all were making
liberal
fun of
today.
making fun of my faith.
I didn't do that. That was him.
I didn't make
Yeah,
fun of your
wasn't
faith. I just said it's a
snarky
risky way of
ass.
quoting scripture on stream or on video.
No, I mean it's not risky, bro. I mean
Well,
I quote
gonna be
scripture
in
all
there
the
and they're
time.
gonna push up their glasses and pull out their Bible and be like, I'm actually whatever.
You
actually
can't. No,
refers to,
I encourage you to.
America
If
or
you're watching
something.
this, I encourage you to, man, because I would like for the actual scripture to float around and not just my. But what I'm saying is true. I mean that what I'm saying is in scripture. I just didn't quote the scripture exactly to a T. But yeah.
That was awesome. All right, see y'all. Or
Yep,
Peace
have a good one.
out.
stream people.